Welcome back. Today is Teen Mental Health Awareness Day, and here to talk about the importance of keeping a healthy mind, especially during the pandemic, is Kaiser Permanente family and marriage therapist Antonia Mejia Ortiz. Antonia, thank you for being here this morning.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure.
Let's just first talk about just an overall view of a teenager's mental health during this pandemic, having to do a lot of distance learning, really kind of thrown a wrench, especially into the teenager's mental development.
Oh, certainly. I think there's a huge population of teenagers who are being and feeling very socially isolated from their peers, not being able to do the things that they personally used to do prior to the pandemic, like sporting events, being able to go to school in person. And so this has definitely triggered a lot of depression, anxiety. I mean, already statistics show that 1 out of every 5 teenager is dealing with mental illness now, and that 50% of our mental illness develops when individuals are around the age of 14, but only 70% get adequate treatment. So this can pose a huge challenge for teenagers and families as we kind of continue to cope with this ongoing pandemic.
You know, and speaking of that, and sort of we're going to be dealing with some kind of isolation still for some time. And I don't want to oversimplify this, but are there things that parents or other people can do to help them out during this time, maybe to keep their minds active?
Oh, certainly. Well, I definitely think it's important to pay attention to any kind of behavioral changes. The onset of depression and anxiety can present very differently in adolescents than it does in adults, because adolescents will show acting out behaviors most of the time. So noticing if they're more irritable, if there's any changes in sleeping patterns, eating patterns, if they seem less enthusiastic and more isolated or more withdrawn from the family. But I think this is when adults need to be more hypervigilant and make sure that we approach teenagers and ask them if they're doing okay. Teenagers typically are more likely to go to their peers and adults to seek help. And so that can really prevent and be a barrier from getting help or getting unnoticed. So it is important for us to stay very attuned to their needs and make sure we check in with them about their mental wellness and ensure that they're doing okay.
As we are making this push now on the state level to get kids back in school, back on campus, back sort of reintegrating into their lives, is there a hesitation on your part at all about maybe jumping in with too much too soon?
You know, I definitely think the majority of individuals are going to benefit from just having a little bit of what, you know, the new normal is going to look like. And for teenagers especially, social interaction and peer interaction is so crucial, not only to their social development, but to their emotional well-being. And so I do believe that majority of them are going to be very happy and have an outlet, because for some people, schools may be their only safe haven and their escape from their daily stressors at home. And so, but I think also considering that there's going to be a percentage of individuals who may also experience increased anxiety because now they're having to relearn how to socialize among other people after being in isolation for almost a year or more than a year. And then also having to cope with some of their fears around the pandemic. And then the sense of grief. A lot of them have lost loved ones and are dealing with ongoing financial stressors at home, which may also create a set of stressors in school. So definitely important to have increased support from teachers, counselors, parents, as our teenagers make this transition, because it won't be an easy one.
And we are out of time, but where can teens turn if they are having a difficult time? So where can they go for help?
So there's several resources, both local and national. I think for teenagers, as I mentioned, a lot of them are more likely to seek support from peers than they do adults. But if any parent is concerned about any kind of mental illness, they can always call Kern Behavioral Health and Recovery Services, they have a department for children by calling 661-868-8300. There is also a teen line where teenagers can actually contact other teens and obtain peer support. And most of these teenagers are trained high school volunteers. And the number for that is 1-800-TLC-TEEN. There's also the Kern County NAMI program, which provides support to individuals and families who are experiencing any kind of mental health issue. And their number is 661 858 3255.
All right, Antonia Mejia Ortiz, we appreciate your time and insight this morning. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, and I hope you guys have a great morning.
You too.